What's up, Pick Central? Tuesday, September 12th. What an angle from our Doogsy guy here. Looks like a fucking little child. But yeah, he's on the ones and twos. He's learning. It's all good. We love our guy. Learn new skills. Brought to you by Cars.com. Cars.com is a leading digital marketplace that connects car shoppers with their perfect car, celebrating 25 years of helping shoppers research, find inventory, finance, and sell cars. Wherever life takes you next and whoever you're looking to be, there's a car for that on Cars.com. Up to 50,000 cars are added daily to Cars.com. Shop over 2 million cars for 2 million possibilities. I talked about it all the time. The Boscos are now 2 for 2. I got a car on Cars.com. My parents just got a car on Cars.com. Find your next possibility on Cars.com. Where to next? All right. Big night last night. Yeah.
If there's something a little weird on the camera, Dukes is learning it all.
He's doing okay.
fresh.
Doing great.
Good. Dukes.
He hasn't switched off. Oh, there he goes. He switched
Hey,
to
look at
himself. That's
that.
a pro move.
Thanks. It's a learning process.
Yeah,
It's
he's
a process.
good. We'll be
It's
fine.
not on yet, Dukes, but still, hey, I like it. It's going to be good back there.
He's good. Yeah, all right. So big night last night. Obviously pretty eventful. I think we start where kind of the whole world's talking. Diamondbacks 1-0 after visiting Pick Central. Big comeback win. We got our boys a W. Diamondbacks 1-0. The other big story, New York Jets. One way or another, stealing the headlines. And it's actually, I know Clemmer doesn't believe in it and curses and this and that. But the only shocking thing is that the Jets actually won the game.
Yeah. Insane.
I think it's like, I mean, obviously,
I was shocked. I was shocked.
Evan.
they have an elite defense.
Bro.
They beat them last year without Rodgers. Like,
Yes, but with all of that happening, it's still like
You don't get off the mat,
it's
which
tough to get back up.
Flip
like they got
side,
back up.
their defense is the catalyst.
flip side, I might have been wrong. So here's where I'm at with the Jets. It's unfair that I think for a guy who didn't think they were for real, even with Rodgers or was elite, it now sucks that he's out because you're not getting a full read on it.
Yeah.
They're not you're never going to truthfully know. It's just a what if forever.
That's a great sports what if now.
It is. It's a big what if. So you don't get to dunk on it one way or the other. It's basically like a no grade. Nobody failed the test. Nobody passed the
Incomplete.
test. On that take, it just becomes everybody gets incompletes, like wash. So that's where it's at. But with that said, I might be backtracking or worried if it did play out. I would have been dead wrong because that defense and that run game was pretty legit. So with Rodgers, what could have been? I think
So
that's probably hurts even more for the Jet fans.
It doesn't because the Jets are 6-2 when Breece Hall plays.
You're really stuck on
I am stuck on that because they can win if you have a great
Hall?
defense and you have a great running game. You can hide Zach Wilson a lot, hopefully.
Their defense is going to keep them in every single game. And my mic is not on.
No, it's not.
Nope.
Smitty's point was the defense will keep them in games, and I agree.
100%
It will,
It
yeah.
will. But Breece Hall, you're 6-2 set. Breece Hall is insane. That's not
Why is that
Because we
insane?
talk about when we talk about Tua, you're like, well, he gets hurt all the time. But Breece Hall's 1 for 1.
Oh no! I mean,
That's
I don't trust Breece Hall is going to stay healthy this year. He hasn't shown me he can. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if he can stay healthy, if the defense can stay A+ defense, there's a path. But there's a lot of things we lost our margin for error now. That's gone.
What's the path?
You have no path. You're
The
fucked.
Super Bowl's done.
Over.
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say that now because I'm a Jets fan. It's week 1. Why? But why? Why put that on? That's not
What do you
fair.
mean
Playing
it's not fair?
technicalities.
It's over.
That's a shitty thing.
He's out for the year.
It's over.
There have
dude.
been teams with horrible quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls.
Not really.
It doesn't happen often, but it has happened.
Name a horrible quarterback that was
Peyton Manning with the Broncos.
It's Peyton Manning still.
He was
Peyton
horrible
Manning,
that
though.
year.
It's Peyton Manning.
That's a wild take.
Not a while.
He has the Peyton Manning's mind in. You just go.
You guys are not being fair.
What do you mean we're not being fair?
You're not being
Your
fair.
team is not going to
You
win a
guys
Super Bowl.
We just won the fucking
You can't
game.
win a Super Bowl. You can't with Zach Wilson win a Super Bowl. I don't care if you have the best defense.
Probably
ever
right.
to
Maybe
live.
we can get a
You can't.
backup. Maybe we can do something. I don't know. This just happened last night. I don't know. We won the game. I'm not going to think about the Super Bowl.
If Zach Wilson could be a game manager like he was last night, maybe. But if Zach Wilson reverts back to the worst quarterback of all time like last year, there's no chance.
He is going to remember. He's still not good.
It's also it took Garrett Wilson making the catch of the year.
He was an awful throw.
Yes.
Awful throw.
Marty, do you think the Giants come to the Super Bowl?
Right now,
No. Do you think the Giants win Super Bowl? It's yes or no question. Yes or no question.
Well, I'll put it this way.
We have a better chance than the Jets.
I think the
outta
We
Giants.
do. In the
You lost
NFC,
40-0.
in the NFC and the AFC, you're so delusional that you're not going to
delusional
the
that you think the Giants can do anything.
They can do better than the Jets this year. They have a fucking functioning quarterback, the most important position. You have a guy who's statistically, Big Ev said it, the worst quarterback in NFL history. It doesn't matter how good your defense will win a couple games for you.
How many games do you think the Jets are going to win this year?
8 to 9.
All right. So
That's
more than a
just like-
couple.
Yeah,
They're going to win 8 or 9 games then, basically, because
They're going to win 8.
Zach Wilson ain't going to win them.
Probably 8 games. That's what I'm going to say. 8, and it's like, dude, I understand it sucks, but yes, your Super Bowl chances are over. That's just what it is.
I think
Especially in the AFC.
who's going to have a better record?
If you're in the NFC, you maybe have a little bit of a shot.
Here's where I think, and it's crazy. It's going Jets Giants because I didn't want that conversation to happen. But in the NFC, you can't tell me, and things are going to shake out to different teams, and teams will rise up in the NFC. But you can't tell me right now that in the playoffs, to win 3 games in a row, which what the Giants would have to do, that they would play 3 harder opponents than the Jets would in the AFC. The NFC does not have 3 teams that would be a gauntlet of
think the Jets are a
Kansas
better
City,
team
the
than the
Chargers,
Giants.
Miami, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Dallas, Cleveland. I'm sorry, I didn't write Dallas. I shouldn't have wrote Dallas. Baltimore, that's what that is. Baltimore. You're going to run through that 3-game gauntlet with your backup as a
You're going to run through that?
No way.
You have 3 teams that are significantly better than you in the NFC.
The 10th worst quarterback or the 10th best quarterback in the AFC is Deshaun Watson. Like the
AFC is stacked.
That's what I'm saying. He's 10th best. The
I get
NFC, we don't have much to go through.
You have Dallas, who just completely annihilated you at home.
No, but you can't beat them again after you lose that much.
Don't forget.
The 49ers?
If Brock Purdy plays
the
the way
Eagles.
he did, the
teams.
49ers might be the greatest team of all
You
time.
name
Listen,
3 teams. There's 10 in the AFC.
So you think the Giants have a chance to Super Bowl, but the Jets do not? That's what you're saying. I just want to make that
They
clear.
have a better
No.
chance.
No. Do the Giants have a
They
chance?
have a better
Answer
chance.
that question. Can the Giants win the Super Bowl this year? Yes or no?
They have a better chance than
No. Is it yes or no question? Can the Giants win the Super Bowl this year? Yes or no?
Ken is a weird. Do I think?
Answer the
so?
fucking
I don't think
question.
they will. It's more will they. I don't think
will
they
they?
will.
No.
You won't do
I
it.
don't
You
think
won't
they
answer the
will.
question. That's because you're a fucking
And
fraud.
then yes. How am I a fraud? How's that?
you won't answer
fraud?
the question.
Because you're a fucking moron. Don't realize
the
your
question.
season's over, you freak. It's over. Let it go. Zach Wilson's the worst quarterback of all time. It doesn't matter what you say. It's over.
They could still go and get somebody else. You have an amazing
Carson Wentz.
defense.
You'll still suck.
So you're saying the Giants win the Super Bowl? I just want to get that on the record.
Can they? Yes.
Will-
Will they? No.
I'm behind
What the
Clemmer.
fuck is that? What a dunk. The Giants are going to win the Super Bowl? What a fucking crazy take that is from me. What are you talking about?
Because I don't think you're being fair.
You're not being fair because you said the Jets could still win a Super Bowl.
I said,
Because the ownership
can
sucks.
they? Yes. Will they? No. I'll give you the same answer.
No, I think that's where you're wrong.
Yeah.
They
They
can't.
can't.
You guys are fucking biased.
They just
Bias? No, they have a way harder fucking. The AFC's way harder.
And your team is worse.
You needed a miracle catch.
No, they're not. We have a quarterback
play
that don't.
to beat.
You don't have a
Buffalo.
quarterback, Mark. I hate to break it to you. You
They
don't.
might not have cared about.
Yeah, a mid at best.
You
think you're
Mid
gonna
at
beat
best.
them? You think you're gonna
What's
beat
yours?
Buffalo
The
in a game
worst
that
ever.
matters?
And there's still
worst
time to
ever
go
to do
get
it.
somebody else.
Who are we gonna get?
I don't know.
Nobody.
Marcus Mariota. We were talking about in the office. There are options.
You don't want
Gardner Minshew.
You don't want Marcus.
Yeah,
I mean,
Carson
well,
Wentz.
Hold on.
I mean, what are we
There
doing
is a
here?
quarterback out there that
Carson
did
Wentz.
lead a team to a Super Bowl back in 2017.
6 years ago.
6 years ago. But he
Might as well
did
get
lead a
Kaepernick,
team
too.
to a Super Bowl.
I mean, Nick Foles is there.
Nick Foles is there, too.
Nick
I'm talking
Foles.
about
You
don't want
the
Nick
late and great
Foles.
Carson
You
Wentz.
guys are crazy.
You don't want Nick Foles.
Clemmer, I let you have your time, but I just gotta say, when you're talking about me running in circles, talking myself into scenarios about the Patriots, buddy, it's fun to see you sprint around, talking yourself in. Fucking Super Bowl, you freak.
That's fine, and that's fair, Dukes. I'm not. Look, last night was definitely more of a loss than win. I'm not going to paint this as something positive, but I do think the defense showed me so much, and the team was decent last year in the first half. That there is a pathway to somehow maybe making the playoffs. That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm a Jets fan. If you're going to just give up after then why be a fan? Like, what's the fun?
No, but it's tough. It's tough when you're going into the season thinking Super Bowl with Aaron
Horrible,
Rodgers.
man.
And it's not your fault. It's not the Jets' fault. It's it's Woody Johnson's fault apparently. Yeah, it's Woody Johnson and
Hold on. Well,
still Clemens'
actually,
fault.
just to make it official. The Achilles is torn. It's official. We all knew it already, but it's official out for the year.
But it is Clemens' fault.
It's not my fault.
He did say.
I'm going to give you one
It's
chance
your
right now to the Pick Central listeners to apologize on your behalf to Jets Nation, the Jets fans around the world, about what you did. The blood is in your hands.
Anyone who's
Cursed.
Why is Woody Johnson? Yeah, that was crazy that you.
No, I'm not even talking about that.
I know.
He cursed the team.
What's the Woody Johnson? Well, yeah, all right, let's touch on that. That was a fucking wild thing to touch.
we were also
talking
talking
about a no-hitter. Like, hey, it's been like 4 years since I got in a car accident.
Obviously.
Whack! Like, what are you fucking doing, dude?
That's what it's like being a Jets fan. It's
Well, you
like
don't
you're always
talk about it day one.
Why you can talk about things, Rico doesn't.
Oh, you
I hate
can't.
to break it.
Talk about a no-hitter, it gets broken up.
You're gonna.
How do you not see this as your fault? Achilles. You said Achilles.
Because that's what happened, Marty. That's what happened.
But you don't talk
Jets
about
have so many bad things happen now, just repeating the same scenarios.
That's the whole fun. The whole fun of sports is believing that things matter.
That's not fun. That's not fun. It's fun for you. It's fun.
the funnest thing.
Sitting every time Ev sits in that recliner at my buddy's house, the Giants win. We've only done it 4 times over the last 6 years, but those big games, they work. Like, that's the fun of sports.
That's not fun for me. That's not how I approach
your
sports.
lucky
It's not
jersey.
fun. I don't have those things.
You approach it by saying an Achilles, and your quarterback that you was going to win the Super Bowl tore his Achilles.
Yes.
He didn't throw
First quarter, same as Testaverde. It's crazy.
He's 0 for 1. He threw a ball away.
Threw a ball away, and every time
he was
every
sacked-
time the
he was sacked
offensive line
twice.
let him down too. It was awful.
Sacked twice.
Your coaches last night were texting each other, "Is this a dream?" That's how fucked you guys are. That's what you need to realize you're fucked. Not that oh, I'm a fan. Maybe
You just said they could win 8 or 9 games, so then you're not fucked. You have a chance to make
that's
the playoffs.
fucked.
Well, that's what.
Because then guess who's your quarterback next year?
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh, it's gonna be Zach Wilson.
Well, I mean, who
What
knows?
was Rodgers not gonna come
I would hope by next year they'd go get
You guys are
something else.
you guys.
This is what the reality is right now.
Oh, you're talking about something that just happened last night. You're talking about next year. Like, let's just live in the moment for a second.
What was the rationale of blaming Woody Johnson?
You talk about sports. That you talk about everything.
He's blaming the overall franchise that they've been they failed at developing quarterbacks, drafting quarterbacks. But
It's the true curse.
But there's
No such thing as curse.
there's a million things you can get mad at Woody. I give you that, but signing Aaron Rodgers just can't be one.
No, but you're in it. No, you're right, Ev. You're right. In that, if you look
That's
directly,
a good move.
if you look directly at it, of course it is. But the fact is, we were always desperate. Same thing with signing Brett Favre. We're always kind of never developing quarterbacks on our own, like a lot of other teams can do, and we're always kind of just always panicking. We're always in a state of panic with the Jets.
Or even the ones you did develop, they
sucked.
Nah, they wanted to run him out.
Geno
quick.
Smith's pretty good right now.
I thought Pennington got a quicker
serviceable.
hook than people
Years
thought.
later, he needed to go.
Sanchez, they kept, I say it all the time, they hung Tebow in front of him. Like, they got to 2 AFC championships. Don't get me wrong, the game was changing. But I thought they were like, it was never good enough with Sanchez. It was never good enough with Pennington. It felt like they were looking to hook guys quicker than they should have.
That's like 12 years ago. I mean, look at
saying,
the last 12 years of quarterback.
They didn't develop anybody before that or after it.
Just look at that window of 12 years, though. You have all these high draft picks because you're constantly terrible and you can't do shit.
Yeah, they can't evaluate talent.
They can't, and it's because they hired the wrong people. They hired
what
John
about the
Idzik,
defense?
who is atrocious. He set this franchise
Ross
back
Gardner,
10 years.
what about them developing the defense?
Well, no, we finally have a GM in here that I actually have some confidence in. But look, like I said, look back at some of the people before that and look at the moves they've made. And a lot of it's because Woody Johnson can't hire the right people to evaluate talent. The Patriots were an atrocious train wreck of a team. They were a disaster. What happens? They get the best owner in sports. And it changed overnight.
I think Joe Douglas has done a pretty good job.
I think so, too. He's the first time I have a GM. Like, oh, wow, this guy kind of knows what he's doing. He's drafting properly.
Built the Eagles Super Bowl.
No, I like Joe Douglas. This is the first time, like I said, but after years and years and years of Woody Johnson just panicking, and it's just infuriating. And yeah, you know what? We were talking about Achilles because the situation too. It had rained all day yesterday, or 2 days ago. Excuse me. The Giants play on that field. Then yesterday, it rains all day. The Jets play on a field that's all fucked up.
That was a wild cry, you and KFC too, being like, how dare they play back? Don't you want to open the season at home?
I don't know. I'd rather be on the road. Looking back on it.
They've done that a million times. And guess what? When primetime games are Sunday night and Monday, that's how it's going to work. Like, that's going to happen. That means your teams are people.
This hasn't
team is
happened.
somebody people wants to watch. Like, the crying about, how did they?
Rico,
goes, how dare they play both games week one? I was like,
you guys know the last time primetime you had back-to-back games on primetime in the same stadium? What year that was? 1987.
who cares?
It doesn't happen that often.
But I mean,
Nobody else is in the same fucking stadium. What are you talking about? We're the only ones.
I know, but it doesn't even happen in New York since like the '87.
You don't get to say that, though. You don't get to say that.
No, I mean, you also
there's also then
LA. They play
how many times has there also been that the Giants play home on Sunday and the Jets play home Monday? That's happened a million times.
It has happened, but not back. But you still even have those extra 8 hours to make the field bad. Plus, it wasn't torrential downpour. Look, everything went wrong. Everything went bad. I would rather not. I would rather not play back to back.
That's wild.
I don't care about opening at home. It doesn't
guys,
matter.
I'm all for, like, I do think the turf is trash and they shouldn't have turf, but, like, was that injury actually the turf's fault?
Probably not.
I didn't.
I'm looking.
I don't know.
I'm trying to look for like a list of like players or a stat of like how many players have like torn their ACL or their Achilles just because of MetLife's turf. Like it seems like it is like a reoccurring injury that happens at that stadium to a major player at least once or twice a season.
But it's still not like veteran stadium turf.
Oh, nothing will ever be.
Snap like
nothing will
rubber
ever
bands.
be.
When it's on cement.
Yeah, playing as a kid, there were a couple games we used to play on turf, and my dad was sick driving us to the game. He's like, I hate that. Used to give us extra double elbow. The points always had to be covered. Hated it. You're basically playing on cement. John Carter got his career ruined with that.
There's this one field at I used to play like a few lacrosse tournaments at Lehigh University. It's straight up like not even AstroTurf. It's like just carpet. Like it's like disgustingly dangerous.
That stuff hurts. You get cut. Guys used to bleed. It's fucking crazy.
In the shower after.
Nuts.
It's the fucking worst when you get the raspberry with the shower.
Brutal. All right, so let's go to the positive though. Gibson, unbelievable story. I know Ev was talking about it with Hard Knocks. Like they fucked around with him.
No, he was a guy who he was an undrafted rookie at Stephen F. Austin. Wasn't expected to make the team. He kind of was like one of the darlings of Hard Knocks, where it's him and Brownlee. They're like these great friends, and it was kind of like a cool thing seeing them being such good friends, knowing that probably only one of them is going to make the team. They both play so well, they make the team. And when they told Gibson he was making the team, Douglas kind of duped him, gave him the little like, "Oh, you work hard, good job, but you're a Jet." Kind of gave him the little switch and bait and switch. But I mean, he was a great returner, and getting to see him like on Hard Knocks. Obviously, I wouldn't have watched without it, but he was great great return man in the preseason. I mean, the guy made a fucking play.
Hell of a play.
A lot of people are talking about the build, like they tripped the guy at the very end. I don't give a fuck about that. The guy made a play. It was a good block.
Down. Like he didn't trip him.
It was his leg came up, which like you could have called it, but you're not going to call that there. He was going to score
Stop
regardless.
with the fucking asterisks, these announcers, by the way. What an asterisk is that they didn't have Aaron Rodgers.
Did they say it again?
Yeah.
I didn't know
I hate that shit.
Yeah, they said it again.
I hate
an asterisk.
That means there's a million things in the history of sports.
Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
Good point, too.
That's
You could say that, too.
When's the media going to stop blowing the Bills now? Because that's the second biggest story after Aaron
that
Rodgers
is a
going
huge
down.
story.
The Bills are the same shit, different.
Honestly,
I want to get to that. We have more of that. Yeah. But there is somebody who seems a little pissed off. Mangold took some shots at the Jets. Friend of the program, Nick Mangold. Nick, go ahead.
Nico, how we doing?
I'm doing great. I'm not blaming owners on ACL injuries. So why don't you talk to Chris and see what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, Clemmer's an idiot. Monday morning,
that was the original text. That's the text. Clemmer's an idiot. I said, call in.
He said Monday morning is most excited he's been for the start of the season. So ownership did exactly what he wanted. And now that Aaron gets hurt, it's all ownership's fault. Clemmer's off. I think where he is right a little bit, Marty, you're crazy that you think that the Jets they have zero chance to get to the Super Bowl. Bad quarterbacks have gotten to the Super Bowl. If Zach Wilson doesn't throw interceptions, this team can run the ball. This team can play defense. They have a path to it. Yes, it is harder in the AFC than it is in the NFC, but there is a path. So I feel like Clemmer, being born a Jets fan, gives us all a bad name because I'm brought into Jets fandom. But and you Giants fans are still all the same. You guys still lost 40-0. So I backed down a little bit. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Were you there last night? What was the vibe? Because it's weird because it's like they win, but there's this, you wanted Rodgers and you needed Rodgers and you needed him, and he goes out without even really seeing anything you can do. So like, is it a spin zone of what you're saying of Wilson can get us there, or is it the same every other Jet fan being like doom and gloom?
No, it is doom and gloom because this is why we can't have nice things as Jets fans. We always break them. But the excitement in the stadium before the game was some of the best I've seen in over a decade. Like, it was, the fans were amazing. Everyone was jazzed. The whole building, you could feel it. And 4 snaps in, the whole air was deflated. But what I do like is that this team didn't just fold, and they kept playing, and the defense kept playing, made the stops that they need to. So that gives me hope. But now the biggest key is, can Zach Wilson, has he learned enough from Aaron Rodgers? That's going to be the whole test, and I think as long as he doesn't throw interceptions, we're going to be all right. I mean, we have a 2-headed running monster in Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, and an offensive line that, as they gel and continue to get better, is great on paper as long as they stay healthy. So I think there is potential there. Are they, the same favorite that they were to win a Super Bowl 2 days ago? Heck no. But they still have a path. It's just a lot more difficult.
Can we get another quarterback? Can we go get, I don't know, Marcus Mariota or Heineke and have him come and learn the system in time? Is that even, realistic?
No. I mean, Zach's been there learning the system this whole time. You drafted him into your system. You drafted him to develop him. After getting there and knowing that you're developing him, you got to trust that your coaches have done the right thing. I think going out and get somebody new would start a whole new issue, more issues than it would bring in solutions.
What if Tom Brady said, "I want to be a Jet today"?
Yeah, I mean, if Tom wants to come and be, play the ultimate devil to
I'll take a shot.
If he's going to do that to the Patriots, that would be amazing, because it would be so much fun just to see the other side of it. And I know Dukes would say, "Oh no, he's washed up and he's done. We don't need him anyways." But it would be fun to watch.
Nick, you said this one thing where if Zach Wilson doesn't throw interceptions, he loves doing that. He loves throwing interceptions. So that's the only thing. I get it. They have when the running game's insane. And the offensive line held up a lot better than I thought they were yesterday. Then that was their biggest iffy thing on the offense was their offensive line.
Well, the Jets have always had shitty offensive lines. Let's just
yeah.
Let's slow down there, Staten Island. All right?
Go ahead.
But seriously,
Mr. Forgotten Borough over here.
Do you for teams that are now preparing for Zach Wilson instead of Aaron Rodgers? Obviously, it's a huge difference. But do you think that's where he just has to be more of a game manager instead of trying to make those tight throws? Because one of that interception he had yesterday was awful too. And Josh Allen's, I don't think is going to have 3 interceptions again, and a fumble, or 4. How many did he have?
3 and a fumble, 4 turnovers.
Their defense. Look, the Jets defense looked like they had 14 guys on the
They're
field.
elite, man.
They literally looked. Didn't I turn to you? I was like, they have more players on the field. They're
The whole
so fast.
it's when the Bills wouldn't put them away, we just kept saying, Jets are gonna fuck around and win. This is still going. They're still in this.
It's just Zach Wilson, man. He's so bad.
Well, I have the question for that. Go ahead.
They got to be careful. He's not going to drop back and throw it 40 times to go to Rodgers. He's going to try to throw it 20, 25 times a game max, run the ball. Obviously, defense is going to stack the box.
What do you make of his psyche, Wilson's psyche? Because there's probably a lot of video out there and quotes in the papers of receivers rolling their eyes when he makes a bad play, or, leaking to beat reporters, or even guys shunning him in the locker room or maybe taking jabs at him. And now it's oh, shit, we, need you back. It's like when you shit on somebody's ex-girlfriend and then they come back in the picture and they show up at the wedding and you're like, oh, shit. So that's kind of what's the psyche with Wilson? Because he was shunned and now he's back. Can he hold up to that? Is there going to be animosity in the locker room? I'm interested in that.
I think that's the big thing from this offseason, and a couple of questions I had with the guys, how's Zach doing with all this? And, I think when Aaron came in, he really took a step back and took a focus of where he was in his career, how he was as a football player, as he was as a teammate. And hopefully he did the work in the offseason, knowing that he was going to sit behind Aaron. And so I think him coming in yesterday, I don't think he expected to play a snap. I mean, let's be honest. You got Aaron Rodgers in there. You don't think he's going to get hurt. I think Zach was coming to the stadium I'm going to have my clipboard. This is going to be a fun night. I get to watch Aaron Rodgers play. So him coming in and doing, he had the interception was disappointing. But now he's got practice week coming in. It all depends on how he mended things this offseason, knowing he was going to sit behind Aaron, but now having to be thrust in. I think that's going to show immediately with how the receivers and tight ends and the running backs and the O-line, how everyone kind of attracts to him. Do they gravitate towards him, or is it like last year where it's like, listen, he's on his own thing?
Yeah, go back to Woody Johnson for a second. You called me an idiot, which is fair. I am an idiot. But you don't think that Woody Johnson, last 12 years of not making the playoffs, like at some point, it's just like, what is this guy doing? You know him obviously a lot better than I do. You believe in him as an owner?
Yeah, I mean, he wants the best for the team. He's not going into this being like, hey, listen, I think we could do really crappy, but I'll still make money, so it doesn't really matter. So he wants the best for the team. And unfortunately, we haven't hit it. And, we draft Sanchez, who, he was developing, got hurt. We drafted Geno, who, was not ready to be a quarterback. Now seems like he's ready to be a quarterback. Darnold. But are you going to wait 10 years for Geno? No. We draft Sam Darnold. He doesn't pan out. Like, it's been this, and I know it's reoccurring, and don't get me started on Hackenberg.
I mean, it's just like, it's a who's who of like people just can't evaluate talent. Now, I do believe in Joe Douglas, and I do think we're on the right path, but at some point, you're like, we're reaching for this guy who's 40 years old to be the quarterback. Yes, a great Hall of Fame elite quarterback, but it just feels like we're always like reaching and always desperate and always panicking. And it's just, as a Jets fan, it's just exhausting.
Clemmer, I know you're old as dirt, but Rodgers is only 39. All right, me and Aaron are the same age. He's 39. He turns 40 in December. Let's not skew things.
Okay.
But you can't complain about Aaron today after loving him yesterday morning.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I guess maybe you can point to not having a quality backup. Although I will say this. I thought Zach Wilson yesterday played better than he did almost all of last year. Like, I feel like he was much more of a game manager, didn't try to do too much. I don't know if it's because he has Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook. I don't know what it was, but I feel, especially that second half, he kind of like got his footing a little bit.
Couldn't have played any worse, in fairness, though. So
interception at the end of the first half is pretty bad.
I also thought Woody Johnson, too, like, say what you will, however you want to take, you got to know when he gets hurt that they're probably going to show you in the box. Maybe take the chain off. I just thought that was like, it was like you look like an ass.
Woody, just
it is a funny chain. It's a good chain. It's a little sauce, Carter. I would say, Nick, I want to ask. I don't know how well you know Aaron personally. I don't know the timeline of the injury of like him just getting back to kind of like walking again and moving around. What do you think? Like, what do you think the chances are of him coming back and kind of almost being like a pseudo quarterback coach for Zach, kind of like guiding him through the rest of the season? Because it seemed like that worked in preseason. Like Zach seemed to enjoy that. I know obviously there's less pressure in the preseason, but I feel like that would be extremely helpful for the team and for Zach. Like, what do you think the chance of that happening?
I don't know what that is. I would hope that is Aaron's path. I assume he's got his own doctors and everything to get him, on the path that he wants. But I do hope he continues that mentorship, because it really did seem like he was taking Zach under his wing and showing him the ropes and everything as he was leading this team. So if he could stay in the building and kind of give him the pointers along the way, that would be huge. And really, I'm intrigued more for what the future holds for Aaron. An Achilles at 39 is a terrible injury. So will that, derail him? As a competitor, I don't see him wanting to go out on injury. And I know he's tied to us for, I think at least one more year. So hopefully he's got that fire to say, I'm going to go out on my terms. So that's kind of where my concern is now. What's the future look like?
So, Nick, you can say right now that you think the Jets can still win the Super Bowl?
I think the Jets still have a chance. I'm not counting them out. Will they win the Super Bowl? Probably not. Not as great as a chance that they would have with Aaron Rodgers, but I couldn't say that with Aaron Rodgers that they were definitely going to win the Super Bowl. But they had a much better chance. Do they still have a chance? Yes, they still have a chance. I mean, we're 1-0 against a division rival, so that's a good start.
Why don't you get back out there, huh? 39, you still got it.
It's been 7 years.
Hey, they want Kaepernick
and I'm old,
to come
washed
back.
up.
Yeah, I saw it without putting you. Yeah. What do you think about people floating the guy who hasn't taken a snap? And so let's say this, Nick. Yeah, okay. So we'll just do this. You haven't taken a snap in 7 years, okay? Without mentioning any names, how ridiculous is it that somebody thinks that you could just go back into playing shape and what goes into all of that and think that that's just somebody who can pop right back into a lineup? Isn't that a crazy statement?
It's the dumbest thing I saw on Twitter and
Right.
or X or whatever it is now. That's the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen on that stupid app. And especially since I have lived that exact same time period, 7 years. If someone said, "Hey, tomorrow come out and we need you to get a couple of snaps in," I would tell them they can go fuck themselves, because there's no way that I would be able to do that in any sense of the term of doing anything football related. Now, if you gave me a chance from like beginning of the off season and let me work into it, maybe I could be serviceable. But right now, it's by far the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it seemed short-sighted.
So you think there's no chance they get another quarterback? It's just Zach
We
Wilson.
need backup now, though.
How would you have felt if they kept Mike White around?
Tim Boyle.
Boyle.
Oh, we got him.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Mike White would have been nice to keep around. That would be a nice insurance policy. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to stick with Zach. I know the coaching staff, I think, is high on Zach Wilson, even with his struggles, that they could develop. And, obviously they had a longer term plan of developing behind Aaron. But they didn't, when they got Aaron, they didn't get rid of Zach. And I think that tells something.
That's true.
You got anybody got one more? I'll get you out on a fun one. Now with our guy back, have you been contacted for Hogs for the Cause 2024? Are you being booked?
Oh,
has he started texting you
no.
feverishly? What's going on?
I'm a little concerned because he hasn't started planning. I know he's had wild weekends in New Orleans. He missed Tulane. That took a lot of his time. So I'm a little shocked that hasn't started planning, but fingers crossed, in what is that? That's April 2024. Maybe I'll be down there.
All right, fair enough.
And Nick, let's get on the golf course soon, all right? We got
to get out and do that.
He's got to hit the ball a mile.
Yes.
That's why I want to do a little scumbag golf.
No, I can't.
Really?
I have no distance. I had a shoulder surgery back in 2012, and ever since then I lost my distance. I did 0 rehab for it, and it's killed me.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
You got to do rehab, man. I'm living example.
Hey, what do they say in the course? They don't say hit it long. They say, hey, hit him straight.
Yeah, hit him straight. If he can hit it straight. But yeah.
I can't hit it straight either. But I have fun doing it. I can drink beer.
We're a perfect pair.
Fair enough.
As a card, a couple brewskis.
Fair enough.
I knew.
There we go.
All right, enjoy it. Go Buckeyes.
Go Buckeyes.
Let's go, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy.
Thank you, Nick.
Nick Mangold, the best.
The idea that let me just say this: the idea that a 7-time Pro Bowler for my favorite team, one of the greatest linemen who's ever played for my favorite team, knows my name is such a
well, yeah, you're welcome. We're all power brokers. We're friends.
Mangold watches the show.
The idea that he calls me,
great dude.
Watches every day.
My brain is broken.
Yeah,
great dude.
At least, so when he says it, you listen because you're a moron.
I mean, I've never said I'm not a moron. I say it every day.
I kind of agree with him. I'm actually kind of disagree. I think they're still I don't think the Jets are dead.
Thank you.
Oh, you guys are.
All right,
listen to me.
Realistically, I think they could be a pesky playoff team.
That's where I'm at. Listen, this defense is good enough. If he can be game manager, they can make the playoffs.
But again,
you guys
you'd have to run through 3 games that matter of
an elite defense
Mahomes,
can take you a long
Herbert, Tua, Allen, Burrow.
I'm not saying they're going to Super Bowl. I'm saying they can make the playoffs.
That's not happening.
I'm with Ev.
They can make the playoffs.
Let's just get there and then see how it shakes out.
I think
why are we talking about this?
Why are we talking about this?
About making the Super Bowl is such a.
What are we talking about? Why are we talking about anything, dude?
What we do.
That's literally.
I know, but that's so far away, and it's
week
such
one
a
overreactions is literally the best thing in the world.
Hold on. Let's table the Jets for a second because Smitty did have a point. The other part of this is the Bills don't necessarily look that good.
I mean,
honestly, you want really
the same shit next year with the Bills every single year.
Honestly, Josh, and this is not even me trying to go again the Giants thing.
I said he's not the guy.
Josh Allen post-stable has not been great.
I have said this, and I picked them before the season to miss the playoffs. That was the best case scenario for the Patriots last night, but he just throws so many interceptions. I think Dable's just a quarterback whisperer.
It doesn't seem like Mahomes puts you at it. I know those two are. I guess you could argue top 5. For times in the AFC, people thought Bills, Chiefs. Now Mahomes has beaten them every time that it matters, and Mahomes is a generational player. But I talk about it all the time. The window, the 90s Knicks, you thought they'd be there forever. The Mets with DeGrom in 15 and 06 and 06. Those windows, real quick, those windows close. I see this Bills window closing day by day by day, and it looks like it's open about this much right now. I know that's a crazy thing to say and an overreaction in week 1, but that's what we do. I don't know if
2 things. I think 2
Ready
things.
for a stat?
If Dak Prescott did that last night, everyone would be
Yeah, that's a good point too. Because
Josh Allen gets away with a lot because he's very
likable. Yeah, exactly.
Bills
people want the Bills to win.
Again, I still think Josh Allen's going to be fine. That's the worst possible game you can play. Jets defense is great. Don't get me wrong, but some of those interceptions were very forced into double coverage. Where you're like, oh, he. At one point, we all were like, "Oh shit, here's the long ball," and it's like, "What the fuck?" There's 3 people.
Well, it was really just the first one. The other two were just.
The second one was.
But
bad.
First one was like a punt, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. But the second and third one, he made a play on the ball. The third one was a great play.
The second
one was a pretty good play too.
Double coverage.
He did force it, but that's him making a bad decision.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
do we still think he's elite? See, I don't think he's elite anymore.
Yeah,
talent-wise, yes.
I'm just like
he could throw the ball 100 yards.
Like Pat Mahomes is elite.
He's definitely slide. Like there was a point where I think he was. A lot of people thought he was number 2. The cheese is sliding up the cracker for sure.
Like Joe Burrow.
Because I've been a Burrow guy over him.
But no one's talking. Like everyone's letting that go now. Like he threw for 82 yards on Sunday.
But Allen
is Lamar getting enough respect? Is Lamar getting enough respect
honestly,
that he's better than Allen?
Honestly, who's not getting enough respect? Honestly, and I keep saying it. I hate saying it. To Jalen Hurts.
Hurts didn't play a Jalen Hurts game on Sunday.
But I'm still. I don't think he's a one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
I think it's the real deal.
Jalen Hurts. I think yes, I agree. I think he needs to put it together a couple more.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I think he's.
I think Tua doesn't get the respect where it's like, oh, it's just like Tyreek. Like he almost threw for 500 yards.
It was a superstar when he plays.
When he plays, the Dolphins win almost every time. It's crazy.
It's insane. But yeah, no, the Josh Allen. It is weird. They don't get any.
Who would you rather have as a quarterback, Joe Burrow or Josh Allen?
I'd rather have Joe Burrow personally.
I'm a Josh Allen.
I think I'd rather have Burrow.
Burrow's got it. I think he's just got the it factor.
Yeah, Allen. I think Allen's more talented. Burrow has the intangibles.
Smarter out there. Yeah, we'll see. Again, this is Overreaction Monday. This is week 1. He had a really bad game.
Well, who would you rather have? Lamar? Would you rather have Lamar or would you rather have Allen?
Lamar gets hurt.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But this is now 3.
I don't think it's that far off with Josh Allen.
I'm just saying. I think a lot of guys are moving up that conversation.
If Lamar
a couple years ago, you would have laughed at it.
It's
now
Lamar's
it's like
it's the injury stuff.
But I don't think it's fair to put all these last night's loss just solely on Josh Allen. Yes, he turned the ball over 4 times. This is the 3rd straight season the Bills are just underachieving.
Yes.
It's this.
Yes.
And they keep getting like you guys saying the windows closing and stuff it keeps getting worse. Like the underachieving is more and more defined.
Honestly, I think people are going to start if this year goes south. It's week 1. We'll see what happens the rest of the year. But if things go south,
McDermott has to go. They gave him an extension. He's got to go.
They're going to start pointing at McDermott and be like, "You got a lot."
I thought they should have last year.
A lot of talent on this roster, and not a lot's happening with it.
And look, if Rodgers plays last night and they lose the exact same way, people are like, "Okay, they'll be fine. They'll be back." The second Rodgers went out and they didn't win that game.
Dude, that fumble was.
What's going on?
That fumble.
He fumbled the snap and then fumbled it, picked it up and fumbled again.
Again, I'm not just counting out Josh Allen like that. That's crazy.
No, but people need to stop blowing them until they do something.
I do agree with that.
You get why they blow them. If you take your fandom out of it and you just got dropped into the NFL and said, what would be fun for somebody to win? It'd be the Bills.
Like, you guys don't see this?
Horrible franchise, likable guy. So that's
jump through the tables.
That's
not your balls on fire.
That's not
fun
his
fan base.
fault. That's not his fault that people want him to succeed. But I'm not looking to put him like, oh, he's horrible, he's over it, like he's a boss. I'm not saying that. I think a rational take though is, while we're all rooting for him, it would be a great story. He has dropped down a tier a little bit. I'm starting to get a little worried that he can.
I think he might.
One game he dropped.
No, it's last year too.
A couple of years.
He
can never. How can you keep him in the top tier with Mahomes when he never beats him?
Mahomes is in his own tier.
Okay, but the Bills and Chiefs, we thought we were gonna get.
Yeah, we thought.
Put it this way: Burrow already beat him. Burrow already beat Mahomes.
Beat him 3 times.
Yeah, and people in the chat are saying
I'm not counting regular season.
3-1 against them.
All right, regular season. Okay, I'm saying give me playoff games.
Yeah,
because when it shakes out with all these quarterbacks, Lamar, Herbert, all these guys, Allen, Mahomes, Burrow. What's going to matter is when did you beat each other in the playoffs? Because we talk about it all the time. There's a lot of guys going for that Super Bowl ring, and if Mahomes keeps pushing them down.
Burrow smashed Allen straight up in the playoffs in Buffalo.
Okay, I was saying more Mahomes, but yes, Burrow. That's helping Burrow even more.
Burrow's the one that's beat both of them.
People in the chat are saying, "Oh, they went 13-3 last year. How is that underachieving, dude?" And the other guy almost died on the field, dude. You got smacked in the dick by the Bengals at home in the playoffs, who were injured.
Their whole offensive line was hurt, which already was their Achilles heel to begin with.
Yeah, there was a toss-up game in Kansas City. We were in the shootout. That was probably their closest to doing something. You got to fucking do something long-term. Get to a championship game minimum this year for start blowing the Bills again.
Well, it's interesting this year too because remember last year coming in after the coin toss thing, whatever with the Wama Chiefs, they come in. They were last year favorites to win the Super Bowl. Favorites, all the hype in the world. And obviously, like you said, they won 13-3. Josh Allen had to struggle, especially the end of the year. I think he was banged up, threw some picks. They lost that game to the Jets. They obviously lose in the playoffs. They obviously the Bengals. This year, it was kind of weird, I thought, because people weren't really talking about them. The Jets had the hype. The Dolphins with Tua back, they have hype. This was the least people talk about the Bills in the offseason, I thought, in a while, or at least last few years since they've been hyped
No one
up.
talked about them.
No one talks about them. So I almost feel like that was people were coming in playing the contrarian going into the game last night, being like, "Oh, this is where the Bills come in. They win. All the Jets have the hype, Hard Knocks, everything." I don't know. It's one game, but it's still definitely concerning.
Who do you want? Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence. Because I
think that's a tough debate.
Right now, Trevor Lawrence is trending upwards.
But I agree 100% with Rico. Dable was a quarterback whisperer.
Yeah,
Allen.
Well, I've said it.
You put
went up big time.
You put Doug Peterson with Josh Allen. I think that's a better scenario than Trevor Lawrence in Buffalo now.
Lawrence to Allen to me is which one do you think then is more talented? Because the main thing to me is, do I think that this guy can beat Mahomes, or do I think I have a guy who has it? Like, he doesn't get scared of, you got knocked down 3 times and, I'll never beat. You know what I mean? Like, I want a guy kind of like Burrow, who I think locks himself in a room and is like, fuck those motherfuckers. They don't think I can win college. They don't think I get a job at Ohio. Like, he's been kicked around. He's got a lot of battle scars. Burrow has a lot of it. I don't know.
Josh Allen went to Wyoming.
I don't know if Allen has it just yet, though.
Yeah, but we've seen Allen be able to sling it and take games over. I think he can still bring that
when
back.
it matters. When it matters, that's all.
Dude, throw the stat at us.
Josh Allen 0 for 5 in overtime. I think that's a crazy stat.
That's wild.
0 for 5.
That's a wild one.
No wins.
I guess the Chiefs one, they didn't touch the ball, but still, granted.
They had the ball first last night.
No, last night for sure. Last night was all they didn't. He just played bad. They didn't get it done when they
3 and out or whatever it was.
Again.
Yeah, it's bad.
100%.
I just don't. Listen, I agree with Smitty, because this is my whole thing when people blow Herbert. It's like, haven't done it. He hasn't done it yet. He hasn't done it. But I know Josh Allen's on that tier where he's been close enough where he should have done it at least once yet. But do you honestly think that the Bills are fucked this year, or do you think they'll be fine?
No. I think it's just a story to monitor. Like, the Bills run off here 6-1. You'd be like, okay, but it's one of those things. I guess it should be a lesson. Don't put the new kid on the block or the new girlfriend ahead of the one you've been with forever. Like, the Chiefs had the crown. People were putting the Bills ahead of the Chiefs.
It's because it's what we've all said. It's because they're likable. You want the Bills are a team that America would want to win.
Yeah, exactly, and that's no fault. Josh Allen's likable. We like the Bills. Fun stuff. Bills Mafia.
Lost
great
4
content.
Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah, 100%. Lost all those Super Bowls. They get it as all the Bills are horrible. Do you know how hard it is to go to 4 straight Super Bowls?
Crazy.
It's insane.
It's nuts.
The Bills should get all that respect. Jim Kelly should get all that respect. Jim Kelly's also sick. You're rooting for a guy like that with Jim Kelly. Like the Bills a lot.
Marv Levy's on his last leg.
Without a doubt. But the Bills
Might be immortal, though.
The Bills could go 16-1.
Oh God.
Or 17-0.
Clemmer,
have the home field.
Marv Levy's kid should be fucking
until it actually hits 0.
Marv Levy's immortal.
Oh no, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
That was the first thing I thought of.
What's wrong with you?
Until it actually hits 0 and the Bills beat the Chiefs, I can't do it. You know what I mean?
I have a question for you.
And it's wait and see for me. That's where I'm at.
This line next week is interesting. It's Raiders at Bills. Bills are favored by 9.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem high?
Love the Bills there.
Yep, bounce back.
That's a Bills line. And
bounce back after the Raiders sneak one.
Jimmy G, though. Jimmy doesn't get blown out very often.
9's high.
And going off that, too, even though it's a bad matchup, so I think people would feel this way anyway, if there's ever a week to fade the Jets, it's next week.
Oh my
Who
god.
they got next week?
Cowboys. So
Cowboys.
it's a
Prime
tough
time,
one.
In
no?
Dallas.
Isn't it Sunday night?
You'd probably be fading them anyway. You'd be thinking that.
Or is it 4 o'clock? What time's that
4
game?
o'clock.
It's tough. But
7.5.
I don't think the Cowboys are coming back down a little bit.
But they just had like the ultimate like flat to like emotional win
On a
of all
short
time.
week too.
Yeah.
Back to back to reality.
Cowboys
We
favorite by
won,
7.5.
but
It's 8.
lost Rodgers in the
Oh,
process.
I'm seeing 7.5 right now.
One quick stat floating around Twitter: Josh Allen has the most turnovers in the NFL since 2018.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that.
Really?
Yeah.
that makes sense.
It's hard to say that guy's elite then, right? Or is that not
Yeah,
fair?
your point of
Another
jumping on me to be like I knocked him down.
Hey, that's
a little
also
bit of a
volume.
tier. I'm not.
It is.
I think
I'm
Also
not
stay
taking
healthy.
him from tier A to tier 12.
Brett Favre has the most interceptions.
Taking him from A to like
No, because if you look at
B
the
plus.
if the tiers are, it's Mahomes. I think we all agree by himself. I don't
Yes.
think there's anyone that you compare to him right now.
Yes, but
The next tier-
Allen was in that tier. I felt like for a little
Maybe
while.
like
He
sure as
shouldn't
shit-
have been. He
Oh,
shouldn't
he
have been.
was.
I agree, Rico.
sure as shit felt like
I would say
I agree with Rico.
it was
100%.
that playoff game.
Especially talent-wise.
It was that playoff game
yeah,
that year.
but then Mahomes ran away with it. He's run away with it. The two
5 straight
Super Bowls-
AFC championship games. 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
It's
that's
crazy.
What
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
who, if we want to do this, who are like the unanimous in like the? We'll say Mahomes is in the zone. Yeah, I would say the tier 2 would be like obviously like Burrow. This is my opinion. You guys agree to disagree? I'd say Burrow. I'd say like Hurts. I even say Lawrence is probably like right there.
He's making his way into
I
it.
think Allen like
Allen's still probably in
Allen is-
two.
Allen should still be there.
Allen is still there.
And Lamar maybe.
Yeah, then you're like, then I think it's like honestly, I would have said a healthy Rodgers.
I
I
think
still would
Tua's still
consider.
there.
You think Tua? I think would be like is a conversation.
I think he's like making his way.
He's like
into
making.
that
He's
tier.
like on the cusp. Herbert's kind of like in that.
I was gonna
cusp
say,
as
what
well.
about
On
maybe they're in the next tier.
the flip side of that,
I think Watson could put himself back. in
was there any quarterback on week 1 that you just look at and you like, oh, he's not surviving, like a Nathan Peterman out there? I didn't see one. I think every quarterback like deserved another.
Well, you don't usually see week 1. You usually see like week 8 when.
Yeah, but you kind of get the feeling of okay, well,
the
this
rookie
is
quarterbacks were like,
I thought the rookie quarterbacks were fine.
yeah, Richardson played well.
Yeah.
Stroud was
Dobbs was fine.
Stroud was okay. He
Bryce Young was
fine.
probably the
Baker
worst.
Mayfield was fine. Desmond Ritter was fine. There was no like true
Great. No,
shitty quarterback play.
Ritter. I'm a little because I think they won with the run game a lot. Ritter can.
Yeah, but he game managed.
They can do that all year, though.
Their team in the division is what is going to make it okay. I don't think Ritter's going to be like their long-term quarterback.
And Brock Purdy, if Brock Purdy's throwing dimes like that, nobody's stopping the 49ers.
That's the truth.
Nobody is through the Super
He
Bowl.
would no he.
Right now, there's if you had to pick one team, it's them.
Like that second touchdown he had to Ayuk
Yeah.
was a fucking dart.
He's playing not like a game manager. He's a quarterback for
Yeah.
real.
I mean, it wasn't embarrassing, but like Dobbs was pretty bad.
Dobbs was like kind of fine though.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
fine.
It wasn't
Like,
embarrassing.
They almost
Like,
won, they
also,
almost
like,
won the game.
against
He also-
Washington.
But he also is a guy like
I say Sam Howell was probably the only one that was like,
Yeah.
The other thing with Dobbs, they signed the guy like 2 weeks.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean.
With a horrible roster.
Possible
They
situation for him.
trade away like their two.
we're leading the game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I would say they covered, and also Washington's got a good defense.
Yeah, they did.
Dobbs, how did Dobbs be on the street this long?
He started a game that was made the playoffs.
That's what I mean. Like,
picked him up
why
in
was
the
he
spot starting.
unsigned through the offseason? Like he's a fine backup quarterback.
Carson Wentz is still out there, and he's like
He's not a fine backup quarterback.
Faster.
fine backup. A backup.
No,
A
what-
walking
you
you don't want that in your locker room.
The Jets
Just
do
the
that.
gun laws alone.
Jets need a backup.
I'd rather start Zach Wilson. I'm dead.
No, they need a backup though.
It doesn't matter.
Tim Boyle. I'd
What
rather
about
start Tim
Pickett?
Boyle. I'm dead serious.
Did Pickett struggle? Could we see him being
Yeah,
out?
he looked okay.
That's a
struggled,
good
he
call,
struggled.
dude.
Kenny didn't look great,
Oh, he looked
but
bad.
I think San Francisco can make you look bad real quick.
Great defense for sure.
I think a lot of guys
All three
would
phases.
be like,
For
"What do
the
you want me
record,
to
I
do?"
agree, Rico.
Week 2 will
I
show.
agree.
Yeah, like
will
I'm
show a lot from.
sick.
Chat saying Tannehill too did not play a good game.
Oh no, we're game. Well, I'm on
Not play a
that.
good
The
game.
game has passed Tannehill, but Tannehill is Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Tannehill's Matt Ryan. That game is
I was big on the Tannehill and Bears train coming into the year.
yeah.
Bears.
Both bad.
Yeah, both bad.
Justin Fields bad.
Let's
So shout everyone watching.
Can I just
throw,
say something?
throw a
real quick
like,
about
like
that
and
stream?
subscribe. Like live like.
Keep us
throw
alive
throw
here.
us a like.
Who gets a dollar a like?
Keep
Could I
the
say
show
something about the Jets
alive
really
and
quick?
like it a little bit.
Can I say something about the Jets really quick?
Yes.
Clemmer, I want to say that I do agree that the Jets can still make the playoffs with good run game and a good defense, but this just goes to show how big of a fucking hypocrite you are. Because when I bring up the same point going into the year, you say that I'm the most delusional person of all time.
You don't have a great running game like the Jets do.
Yes, we do. We do every single fucking year.
You don't have anyone like Bryce Hall. You do
Shut
not.
your fucking mouth, you troll.
No, I'm not being a troll. I'm not being a troll.
I'm talking.
You shut the fuck up.
We've had a good, substantial running game every single year. Ramondre Stevenson was hurt. We didn't have to run the ball against the Eagles. We could only throw the ball, and we did it effectively. We didn't have to run the ball to win the game.
Okay, you think you have the same running talent that the Jets do right now this season?
I think we have a good 1-2 punch.
All right, can you guys laugh about like that's insane?
The Jets have a better running backs.
No shit.
Yes,
better
but
ones.
we
No, but
always
the
have a
Patriots-
good-
fucking
we always
insane.
do-
Also,
we
the
always
Patriots
do have a good run game.
The Patriots do have
I say, yeah.
That's
But
all they
I brought
have.
up the same point though going into this year, and you laughed.
Because
at
you
me.
don't have the same. It's not even quite.
Yes,
It's not even comparable.
Let's grade them out.
Jets also have a much better
Grade 'em out.
defense.
I like this.
I got a
We're gonna
grading
go Patriots
system.
like this.
I got a
We're gonna go
grading
Patriots defense
system.
bad.
Jets defense is significantly better.
Tail of the tape.
All right, here we go.
So the Jets,
What's the
current
grade? What's the grade?
Here we go.
Pat's tail of the tape.
Current roster. You don't get to say Rodgers anymore. Head coach. Clemmer and Dukes can't vote. Head coach. Jets, New England. Who gets the vote?
New England.
New England. Quarterback.
New England.
New England. Okay. Defense.
Patriots.
Jets.
I mean,
No,
Jets.
Jets.
Sorry, Jets.
All right, Jets. Special teams.
Jets. I mean,
Aye.
After last night.
it's a
Wash. We're giving that a wash.
Gosh, you see?
We'll call it a wash.
You guys not see the game yesterday?
both of a good kick.
Oh, you guys are just fucking with me. That's
Running
not fair.
backs.
That's
Running
not
backs.
fair.
They have good.
Jets.
No, but they have good special
Yeah,
teams.
that's not
Pats.
fair. I mean, you guys.
Running backs. Pats.
What?
Wide receivers.
No, hold on. What was the running back one?
It's going to be a wash.
Oh, then you guys are full of shit. I
whole-
disavow
my whole
this
point,
whole
though,
tally is bullshit.
Wide
fraud.
receivers, you got Randall Cobb. Patriots.
fraud.
I got 3-1.
Because
Patriots.
you're full of shit.
I got 3-1.
You're a shithead.
With the head coach and the quarterback, those are two.
Hey,
Those are
owner-
worth two.
The owner.
My
Patriots.
point,
Owner. Patriots.
I'll give you that one.
my point is that when I brought up the running game and the
Full of
defense
shit.
can lead you to the playoffs, you called me a moron.
Yeah,
I'm
he
not
does
saying
have you
that
in a
our
box.
defense and our running back
He's
is
trying to
better.
be game manager, slow it down Patriots, and now you're in that box,
Right,
and
right,
you're
that was
judging
my
him.
point.
It's not
Makes sense.
a great
What's
box
gonna-
to be in.
But the thing is with the run, like you guys say, the run, the Jets and the run.
It's rare you're even
When
in
teams,
box.
Is it?
when teams prepare for just the running game, they don't have to prepare. Like that's when Zach Wilson's going to have to make some plays, and I don't see that happening. Like you can figure out when a team just wants to run, and that's what everyone knows that they're going to do. Like teams are preparing for it now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but then they prepared for it last year too, and they still won. Like I'm okay with that. I don't know if you can really prepare for Brees Hall. Do you guys seriously? All can you say who ends up finishing the year with a better record? The Jets, or the Pats?
To be determined. They're going to play it out. I think they're very similar.
I think it's
I think they're more. I think they're similar.
Depends if you guys can pick up Tom Tupa.
One's going to be 8-9, one's going to be 9-8.
Yeah, and the schedule is very hard for the Jets coming up. So that was good. We do have a hard out. I think Pat Bev's coming in the studio at 12, from what I've been told. Let's do picks real quick. Thought that was good. Nick Mangold, thanks for
you
coming.
got time
on.
for the graveyard?
You want to do that tomorrow?
I think
You can
tomorrow.
expand
you not-
on it?
are you here?
It's not here tomorrow.
We got time. We got 7 minutes.
Yeah.
6
Yeah,
minutes.
all right.
6 minutes.
Graveyard. Gambling graveyard. What do you got? I'm putting myself in the gambling graveyard. You go 2 and 9.
Yeah, no.
I'm in my own gambling
yeah.
graveyard. I got to work my way out.
I got the Vikings. Fuck them. I can't trust them.
I warned you about them.
You did.
They'll be back though. They'll be.
Who's in at home like that though?
Yeah, but I mean, they'll
I'm not
be
going to
back
bet them
to
again for a while.
mediocrity and
What do you got?
They're going to get spanked this week.
Gambling graveyard.
Bears. I hate to do it. I
fair
hate
enough.
to do it, but I mean,
trash.
you can't trust them.
What about you?
They're already. I'm doing college. They're already 0-2 for me this year. Maybe the worst beat of the season so far. Texas Tech. I don't know if you guys saw.
Awful.
They were winning. They were plus 6.5, winning the entire game.
Winning the game.
Winning
points.
the entire game. They end up getting outscored like 20-3 in the fourth quarter, including a Oregon score to go up 1, and then they threw a pick 6 with like 20 seconds left to lose by 8.
Sharp play.
One of the most disgusting. If you bet Oregon,
Sharp.
you disgust me. You sicken me.
I was so
I'm
happy.
glad that
Sometimes the squares.
I'm glad that both.
I had 3 square
and
boxes.
it makes
this
sense
year.
that both Oregon bettors were on the Bills. Just saying.
But squares were also on the Eagles.
Technically
I
they're
was
right.
also on the Eagles.
No, it wasn't. It was technically the wrong play.
technically the right play.
What?
It was the wrongest play of all
It's a
time.
horrible play.
With Zach Wilson, you still couldn't win.
I handicapped for Rodgers getting hurt, but
And
I
you
didn't
still
see that.
lost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
It's
a
not-
sharp handicap. What do you have gambling graveyard?
My graveyard Steelers. I'm not getting convinced about the Steelers. Their injuries now. Deontay Johnson, I think, is out for a couple weeks now too. Like, I'm just gonna stay away from them because I don't know what the fuck I was thinking that first game.
I was on the Steelers too. I mean, the 49ers just fucking came and smacked them in the mouth.
Me and Dave were
That's all they did.
Me and Dave were kind of talking about the day out. I think that was the line where, and I fell into it when I was on the Steelers. That was the line where you thought you were smart taking the Steelers, and it was like the reverse. Like you thought you were like too smart.
That's literally what I thought.
We said it the first. We were on the like watching on Gamecast and the plane. Like first thing, we're like, this is the one. We both were on them. And right away we're like, this is a bad pick.
I'm gonna give one team
overthought it.
Good for them. Rams. No one's talking about the
Yeah.
Rams performance. The Rams, Matt Stafford. A
No
lot of
Cooper
people
Kupp.
talking.
Evan and I were talking about it. Get on the Rams while Stafford's healthy.
When he's
I did
healthy,
too.
Because-
I'll tell you. I mean, their defense is still freaking good.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh no."
We thought the Rams
Geno
were going to be
Smith coming at him.
I mean, the
He was
Rams.
going,
Tough
"Oh, no."
game. Tough game this week though.
The Rams were like third.
Niners.
The Rams were third or fourth to have the worst record. The odds. They were like high up on that
Hey,
list.
the Bucks were too.
People like
the
the
Bucs
problem
still
is,
might be.
I think the wheels are going to fall for Stafford. Like his health and the elbows is a problem. But
beat up.
when Stafford's healthy, he's still a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Yes.
He still can sling it, man. You
a
saw
Super Bowl winning
they scored 30 points. They got no receivers.
Niners are 8-point favorites. It's in LA.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Run through the picks.
I don't fucking. I got
games away.
There's still
guys,
value
stop
in
it.
baseball.
Baseball is
bro.
great.
Still value in baseball.
Only playing baseball when there's no
A
football.
lot of value tonight, boys.
I got the Reds and the Diamondbacks. Mets, I think, are like a small favorite.
Listen.
Diamondbacks, give me that.
Listen, boys. Zach Wheeler has been on an absolute Cy Young tear since the All-Star break. You are getting plus money with Zach Wheeler at home today.
That doesn't worry you? Somebody knows something?
No, I just think the Braves,
Braves
are
are,
going to be
yeah.
minus money. Zach Wheeler has been unhittable.
I got a Orioles run line. Adam Wainwright pitching today for the Cardinals. Adam Wainwright's ERA is 8.19.
Okay. Ev?
I got a Yankees in the first game at 1:30, 1:35 Eastern start, and the Rays. I might play the Phillies with.
I want you to get back into it. I want you to be tearing playoff baseball up.
I win the
Playoff
playoffs. Sorry, I will.
is so
I'm betting when there's no football. When there's football, my brain.
Yeah.
I
No, I agree. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, I'm not
I'm
into
better at football. I win more in football.
And before us goes, the fact that last night the Wisconsin bar ran the promo if the Jets lose, everyone drinks for free. So when Rodgers got hurt, everyone started going nuts, running up the tab.
Oh my
Oh,
And they got high and high, and then they lost and realized they had to pay.
That's
unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
Imagine just running up. Come on, let's get shots, boys. Fuck.
Dodge it to the room. All right, Barstool Radio up next.